Welcome to the Girl Talk Podcast, where again, my co-host is Kitsune Katie.
Yo.
And Rosie Riots.
I waved too prematurely.
I was gonna be honest. I saw that happen, and I was like, I just act like you didn't see that. you wanted the
like
cam on.
And I was like,
you could have gotten away with that if you wouldn't have turned the cam on.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have waved if the camera was off.
Okay. So we have nothing worse than a premature wave. Larch says. No. So we got Katie on as usual, and then of course we have Rosie Riots.
Hi,
We're very excited to have you. This has been a long time coming. I feel like this has been one of the more suggested guests, and I was honestly like saving. I don't know if anybody else does this, but like whenever I know that I have a good thing, I'm like, okay, well let's get like the format down. Let's make sure we got our shit together before I bring her on. I'm like, I want that to be like a good episode. I don't want it to be like like we don't know what the fuck we're doing, and then we just have Ron and it's just kind of like oh fuck, wow, you guys didn't really have it planned out, did you? So not that we ever planned anything out, to be fair though.
I have to say, sorry for interrupting, but I have to say, like, the fact that you even think that I'm like a big guest or something like that, it just means so much. Like, my self-validation is just through the roof. Like, well, I'm gonna be walking around with the biggest ego now, so thank you.
Well, the only problem with it is that it was so hard to get like all the stuff through your management. Like, your management team really drives a hard bargain. Like, I literally I had to give Rosie half of my earnings for the rest of my life just for this one appearance.
Rest of his life.
It was insane.
I wasn't the one. It's honestly my organization that does it all.
Right.
So
yeah,
but I appreciate.
Don't talk to me if you haven't talked to my agent yet.
My agent is Gig, so it's actually kind of easy to talk to her because she's in like everybody's chats. You can just be like, hey, can I get Tyler on this or that? I got it. No, but so Katie brought up a good topic that kind of got brought up naturally by Rosie. I think this is an interesting topic too. What is I guess just talking about the differences between like getting ready for stream for men and women, one, and then two, just like in general getting ready, because I can say as a man, like, it genuinely takes me, like, somebody will be like, hey, do you want to do this? You could tell me, hey, do you want to do this 5 minutes before I have to leave, and I can get ready easily. Like, it's not even a question.
Oh my god.
Nope.
No.
So how long on average would you say it takes you guys to get ready? Like, if you're going to like, let's say you're going to like a fairly nice dinner.
So are you meeting the guy for the first time?
Yeah.
So like the process for me starts 3 days before.
Oh my god, no way. No way.
Okay, wait.
Yeah, you gotta get your like nails and stuff done.
True.
That's true. And then like for me, I always get like my car wash and get it like detailed and stuff like that. Like, so like those things you need. I don't do anything
classy. I love it.
Bro, Rosie's like, I gotta get a promissory note out so he knows that I got that money for real. You gotta know that I'm successful. Exactly. I gotta have everything ready.
I put a loan down on a house really quick for us in the future.
I build some credit. Well, the day starts me 4 years before whenever I open a credit card to start building some credit to make sure he knows I'm responsible.
Exactly. No, that's basically when it starts. But you never know where the night will go.
Actually, Captain LSA just said an important point, which I think about this quite a bit. He said, or she said, she got to keep the car clean. You never know where the night will go. I think about this so fucking much. Like, if I go on a date, I like deep clean my entire fucking room, and I go into my car and I make sure everything looks okay in there, because I'm like, dude, you just never know, like, whenever something's gonna happen. Like, the worst thing would be you're at a bar, you bring home like somebody from a bar, and like as they're walking in the house, they're like, oh my god, like, Jesus Christ, this place is disgusting.
Yeah. Everywhere. The fuck are you doing? Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, like, I don't know, and then you gotta make sure that you eat like something light and mild, and depending on what kind of first date you're going for in this situation.
What does that mean? What do you mean by what kind of first date? You mean like the fanciness, or what do you mean?
Well, I mean, like, you don't want to eat something like super spicy if you're gonna be like, doing some jujitsu later. You know what I mean? Like,
hey, yeah.
Bro, I'm trying to get my blue belt for real.
So, yeah. I don't know. For me,
the facts.
The thing is, there's a big thing that like guys are like, why do we have to pay for the first date? And why do we have to pay for blah blah blah? Right? And it's like, do you realize I paid for me to get my nails done? I paid for my makeup that's on me. I paid for a new outfit. You put on a t-shirt from Walmart and some sneakers and came out, and you're paying for my dinner. please, for the love of God, you get to be paid by looking at me.
Rosie's like, I got an
Yes!
oil
Oh
change
my
for this.
Yeah, it's like
Holy shit.
I spent money getting ready for you.
Right.
That is what happened. And then I know you all you guys go like, well, you don't have to do all that, and it's like.
Okay, but like, do I though? You know what I mean? Like,
let me ask Katie, how long does it take you to get ready for like, let's just say you're going on a first date, semi-nice restaurant. Do you take 4 days, or do you do it relatively 3? Sorry.
3 days.
Don't be ridiculous. 3.
4 is too much. Then things start like getting like crusty, like your nails.
Dude,
Okay,
I'm not
Katie.
very good with maintaining my nails though. I'm really bad with that kind of stuff. And I guess I'm not like super fancy with like other things like that. But I do have to say, like, if I'm going on like a date for like the first time, you know what I mean? It depends if I want to like what I want to do with my hair, because I usually take like 2 hours to get ready. But if it's like I want to curl my hair, it's like upwards to like 5.
Oh my God, I can't even fathom. Like, I've gone to weddings where it took me literally 10 minutes to get ready, and that's putting on a full
I
fucking.
can't even
That's putting on a
imagine,
full
yeah.
fucking like suit, like a 3-piece suit.
Oh yeah.
10 minutes.
When
Gig
I went to
says 2
prom-
fucking hours for a date. What the fuck? That's me. I'm literally sitting here like, what? How is this possible?
Yeah, no.
You gotta shower, blow dry your hair, do makeup. That's just like the basic stuff.
Yeah.
So if you want to do more, if you want to go up and above, it's gonna be longer.
Dude, I gotta say,
Yeah,
I'm now appreciating like how much more effort it takes for women to get ready than men, because like I honestly thought, like, whenever I asked that question, whenever I prefaced that question, I was like, maybe at most an hour. Like, at most an hour. So whenever you said 3 days, I was like, ah! That reminds me of
You're
whenever,
like, oh my God!
That reminds me of whenever I was
Yeah.
planning out the subathon, and I was like, yeah, I think I'll probably go for like 12 to 18 hours. 4 days later, still streaming. Fuck! God damn it.
Yeah, no. That's so rough. Yeah, I when I got ready for prom, I literally started at like, I don't know, I think like 11 a.m. and then like prom was at like, I had to be there by like 7 or something like that.
Bruh.
That's what I
Yeah.
did too. I did the same thing, because like it's just you have so many things you have to do for it, where it's like literally prom doesn't start when prom starts. It starts like at the beginning of the day. You know what I mean? Because
No.
you're getting ready.
You know, now that I think about it though, guys, I do remember whenever prom was happening, like all of the girls at my high school were taking like they would go get their makeup done professionally, go get their hair done
Yeah.
professionally. Like, they did
Yeah.
so much shit. I
Yeah.
skipped my prom. Did y'all go to your prom? You did? I'm guessing.
Yeah, I went to
Yeah,
my
I
senior
did
year
too.
prom.
Dude,
That's what I did.
I
It
literally
was not up to the hype. It
Dude,
was-
really wasn't.
nothing
It
nothing
really
in high
wasn't.
school is fucking up to the height. Like, I literally regret going to my own graduation.
Oh my God.
I'm like,
Really?
why did I go to that? That was just such
I
a
remember
fucking waste of
my own
time.
graduation.
Yeah, I literally
A
look
what?
back at that and I'm like, what the I don't care about any
Oh
of these
my
people. I don't
God.
ever want to see them again. I'm like, why the fuck did I go
Yeah.
to this?
Dude, can I like say something kind of fucked up but kind of funny?
Yeah,
I like
Say
broke up
it.
with my like senior year boyfriend on graduation day. Like, we graduated and I was like, I'm never seeing you again. You were horrible to me this entire year. Goodbye. And then I just never saw him again.
You couldn't have said that the day
Just, like,
before?
No, it had to happen graduation day, because then, I didn't want graduation day to be ruined. Like, we walked, and then at the end of the day, I was like, sorry,
Yeah.
that's it. Like, I'm never gonna
Well,
have
that's
to
good
see you again. This is
because
horrible.
it's
You
still
know?
fresh, because you've seen a lot of people that day. You know what I mean? So it's good that
Yeah.
you did it like that day instead of having to go back to it. You know, because it's like
Right.
Yeah.
graduation. You have graduation, and it's just like boom, start the rest
Right.
of your life basically.
Exactly.
Were the
exactly.
prom
Yeah.
tickets
Never
were
had
the
to see
prom
you again.
tickets really expensive for you guys? Because the prom
my
tickets
God,
like here. So
yes!
like this is literally how it happened for me. So we were like looking at going to prom. At this point, I had been dating my girlfriend for like 2 or 3 years. So, like, we were like really comfortable with each other, and like we could just talk to each other however we wanted. And I looked at how much the tickets were. I don't remember how much it was, but I think it was gonna end up being like $400 for both of us to go to prom. And I was
Something
like,
like that.
I sit down with her. I'm like, listen, we can either spend $400 on prom, or we can go on like a
Or-
3-day vacation and do something fucking cool.
Dude, right?
And so we literally just like drove out to San Antonio and spent 3 days like exploring San Antonio, going to fucking Six
So cool.
Flags, like staying in this bougie ass hotel. It was
Yeah.
so much better
Yeah.
than going to prom. I do not regret a thing. I'm like,
Dude.
that was so much more worth it.
That's
Prom was
amazing.
literally horrible. It was so bad. I just feel like that's, but like you said, everything when it comes to like high school was just like
bad.
Like when people are like, "Oh my god, I miss high school." I'm like, "Why?"
Okay. I do say that though. I do say that. I do miss high school. I don't know what it is about me. So like, I don't know why I miss high school. So you know what I think it really is like I remember how much more simple my life was. Like it was just like, oh yeah, they tell me to show up here. I show up here. They tell me what time to eat. I eat. You know, it's like it's like prison except more social.
Yeah, like they're just telling.
So
yeah, you're not wrong.
It's very structured.
Rosie.
You don't have to structure yourself.
Chris Recipe says, "What is a prom? A prom is basically like a high school dance they do. Like I think mostly they do it in senior year, but I know there's also like junior proms and whatnot. It's essentially a way for the school to make a fuck ton of money and throw like a nice little event."
Nice.
Yeah, it's
nice in quotation marks.
It's so overrated. It's never cool. Like everybody
so
knows it's not cool, but they do it anyways. Like.
Because it's like,
kind of
even say you've been to prom.
True.
Yeah, something that you kind of have to do.
Yeah, but like
the fact that Giggles went to 5 proms, I don't know how. I don't know how you went to 5 of them.
I couldn't even go to one.
What?
I couldn't even go to one. There's no way. I could not be fucked.
I made it halfway through one. I made it halfway through one.
You know what's crazy?
I want to go home.
You know what's crazy? I don't know how it was at every high school, but at my high school, like the dances were actually fucking wild. Like whenever we'd go to the dances, like there would literally just be used condoms on the ground in the middle of the dance floor. I'm like, y'all hoodlums were fucking on the dance floor. I'm like, Jesus Christ! Like, where am I right now? Like, what the fuck?
Where are the teachers watching?
Yeah, but like the way that they would do it was almost like have you ever had a situation where there was an adult who was like, I'm just gonna be the cool parent, look the other way? It was like that with the teachers. Like they would literally just
all of them.
Yeah, like all of them would just be like in the fucking side, like the same little corner, and then all be just talking to each other, just, like acting like don't see shit. I'm like, there are literally like babies being made right now. Like yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Like there are STDs being spread right now, and you're just over here talking about the faculty meeting.
Wow.
The heck? Oh, imagine the people who have to clean up though.
Oh my god, dude. Like all these degenerate little kids. And then they gave us like these cups whenever you walked in, which was stupid because it's like, what am I gonna carry this cup all day? Like what the fuck? And all of a sudden, next thing you know, everybody in their cup has like tequila and vodka and shit. Like it's just a bunch of like 17-year-old, 18-year-olds with a bunch of tequila and vodka just drinking and fucking on the dance floor.
Jeez.
Like I just remember seeing that and being like, this ain't really my crowd. Like, this ain't really my scene.
For me.
I'm like, I just want to go to an amusement park. Like,
dude, I did not start like even attempting to drink alcohol until I was like 17 and a half, and like even then it was just like once, and I was like, I'm just not a big drinker.
What was y'all's first experience with alcohol? What was it? Like, what, you were 17, you're at a party, I'm guessing. How does it go?
Well, okay, so are you asking like the first time I ever consumed alcohol, like whether or not it was like I accidentally did, like my mom had a cup and I thought there was just Coke in it, and then I just like took a swig of it, and then I started crying. I was like 8 years old, and I was like, what just happened? I'm gonna die, because you know. But,
I don't know if like you currently drink like right now or something like that, but what was like the first drink?
Right now. Yeah.
Okay. No, but yeah, I know, I got you. But what was like the first drink that like got you, I guess, into like drinking? I guess you can say like, where you've been at like a party or something like that, or it doesn't even have to be a party or whatever it was, you know.
So I was like 17 and a half. It was the summer vacation between like junior year and senior year, and we went to a party, and I like for the first time getting drunk, and then like the first time smoking weed, I got crossfaded. Like, literally,
bro.
Like,
oh my god!
I was just, like pedal to the metal, like.
Bro, Briggs has a similar experience. It's actually really funny that you have the same experience. Like he told me about that. He told me his first time smoking weed, he was crossfaded. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like you didn't think like maybe I should do these individually?
Nope. Like literally, it was just like pedal to the metal. Let's like I hit like they just had a bong there, and they were like, take a rip, and I was like, okay, and they're like, here's a beer, and I was like, okay, and like it was my body was.
How drunk did you get? Like how fucked up were you after that? Like were you like 5 out of 10, or were you like, I don't know what's going on anymore?
You know, I was kind of coasting, I think, because like they, you know, I don't know if you've heard this or whatever, but they say like the first time smoking weed, it doesn't really hit you like that hard. So I don't feel like I got like really, really, messed up on that. I think it was mostly just like I had like a buzz because I wasn't like taking hard shots. It was mostly like I was like, I drank like a beer. I think I took like 1 shot or something. It was so long ago, dude. I like hardly remember. And I was also CrossFit.
Yeah. And that's when the black tar heroin came in, and they said, why don't you shoot this up? And I took the spoon. Now, Katie,
like, sure,
Katie,
why not?
Katie, what was your
CrossFit
first
and on
experience? Let's hear Katie's. I feel like Katie's gonna be a little wild for some reason.
It wasn't that wild. I was just like, it was in a dorm room.
Classic.
Year. Yeah, and so all my friends were in this tiny ass little dorm room, right? There was a TV, and for some reason everyone was like, you know what? Like there are a lot of people who don't watch anime there, right? And so like everyone was like, let's try to get them into anime. Let's watch some anime. And we were like, okay. And of course the first anime they pick is Goblin Slayer.
Oh god.
Like,
bro, you had to drink just to get through that first fucking episode. You were like, oh god, fuck.
Dude, the worst anime they could have picked to get someone into anime, well, just at least with like the first episode, right?
Dude, yeah.
And so like I was like already kind of drinking before that, so I was like, what, Goblin Slayer, what? Because I've never seen it. So I never saw, like I had watched a lot of anime before, but I never saw it. So I was drinking, I think it was rum or whatever, and this is the first time that I've ever got drunk, so I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And then on the screen, shit's happening, shit's going down. I'm like, what's happening in real life, and what is happening on the screen? I don't know where I am.
Katie's just like, how did I get here?
Mom, I'm scared, come pick me
Mom,
up.
come pick me up.
Oh my god.
Rosie, how familiar are you with the anime? Are you into anime at all?
So I think like it's a meme in the community where I'm like the one non-anime person.
Dude,
like that
Gig
you've
is
all
like
like
that a little bit,
adopted. Adopted into the.
You know what's funny is like
family.
people say that I'm not really into anime. I'm like, dude, like it's just compared to you,
You
fucking
literally
weebs.
were
Like it's like
an anti-tuber before,
I know, but like, dude, Katie, it's because all of them are such absolute fucking weebs that like like compared to me, like I'm like nothing compared to them.
Like
but whenever I talk to like regular people in the outside world, whenever I get out of this chair every once in a while, it's like they are looking at me like I'm a fucking alien. Whenever I start talking about anime, they're like, "What? You've seen so much? What the hell? This is insane." But have you seen Goblin Slayer, Rosie? Do you know about it? Okay, so the first episode of Goblin Slayer. Literally, this is literally how the anime starts. This is why it's such a fucking horrible anime for her to watch on her first time. Whenever the anime starts, the first episode, a girl gets abducted by goblins and is R-worded viciously. Like, it's like a horrible scene. Like, it's literally hard to watch. Like, you watch it and you're just like, oh my god. Like, you're looking at the screen like, fuck. Like, you're watching through your fingers a little bit.
Anything specifically,
but you know what's happening.
But like you know what's happening. Like it's like
Who chose the anime, Katie? Because that person's a little sus. I gotta say.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, well, apparently Goblin Slayer is good. I don't know. I've never seen it, but I've heard it's like good.
Yeah, people say it gets good. Like apparently that first scene is just to like show you like why the guy who kills the goblins has such contempt for goblins. Like it's like, look how fucking shitty these things are. Like they're like the worst fucking creatures that could possibly exist. But like, dude, that scene is fucking brutal. Like it's god. It's
like there were a bunch of people who don't watch anime in that room too,
dude, and
I was like, you literally just ruined anime for like everyone in this room.
And the way that it starts out too is you do not like Captain LSA just said 4 young plucky adventurers go on a goblin hunt. It goes so wrong because that's literally how it starts. It starts out like just these 4 guys like da everything's happy, and then next thing you know that happens and like all of them get brutally fucking murdered except for the girl who gets R-worded. To like it's the worst fucking like start to an anime. Like it's so hard to get through. I think that's why like I didn't watch it, to be honest. Like I was just like, dude, I can't keep watching this after this.
Actually, same, because that was the only interaction I had with Goblin Slayer was while I was getting drunk for the first time, watching that on screen, and I was like, yeah, fuck this shit.
And I love how you gave up Goblin Slayer before you gave up alcohol. you're like nah, I can't watch Goblin Slayer anymore. How is that? Was there anything interesting that happened other than that, Katie, or was that kind of the interesting thing?
No, I think that's kind of just like what happened, really. I think like they had to like drive me home and shit, and there was like a fucking noodle I was hitting everyone with, but like you know how like you know those food toys or whatever. I have no idea where they how they had one, where they had one, but I was like, some whapping everyone, and that's pretty much it. There wasn't really anything.
I really can't remember my first time like drinking and getting drunk in public. So like my thing was I'm like Rosie in the respect that like I just don't give a fuck about drinking. Like I never really have. I think it's because my dad was like giving me alcohol from like such a fucking young age. Why is your camera flipped? Is it? Oh yeah. Oh, weird. Oh, I think it's just because I'm using anyways, it doesn't matter. But yeah, so my dad like would give me alcohol from like the age of 13 on. So like drinking, literally, I didn't give a fuck. Like I was like, I don't care about drinking. Like I drink all the time. Like who cares? So one day I'm like out with my friends and we're at this party, and they all start drinking and everything, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, I'll drink. And this was the first time that I got fucking blackout drunk. Like I was so fucking drunk. Like I have no idea what happened throughout the entire night. And whenever I woke up, my friends go, "Man, cannot believe you kissed Chris last night." I'm like, "Huh?" They're like, "Yeah, I cannot believe that you kissed Chris." I'm like, "Really?" And he's like, and they're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Oh, that's fucking crazy." And they go, "No, you didn't really kiss Chris. We just wanted you to have a crazy reaction." I'm like, "Oh, well, that shows you that I don't really give a fuck." Like, I was like, that would have just been a good story. Like,
I have a really good story actually. Ooh. Like one night, okay, this is actually kind of really bad, right? But like, this is like when I was still kind of in my freshman year. I don't think it was sophomore. Sophomore, I kind of like cooled down, and now I'm just like, yeah. I don't really drink a lot, but when I do,
it loses its like fun whenever you do it like a good amount.
Yeah, because like when you first do it, it's like new, right?
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, okay. Because I was never given alcohol before, so like it was kind of like I had like this period where I kind of went crazy, and we would go to like different parties because we go to a party and then it'd be busted by the cops, and then we'd have to go to a different party. Dude,
oh my god, I forgot about that. That's literally how parties go. That's insane. Like people just act like it's so
and it's
casual.
So scary, like. I like kind of like just eye the door sometimes if people start like rushing towards it. I'm like, oh fuck, okay, it's time to go.
Dude, Katie,
like...
you just reminded me like how fucked up that is. Like I forgot that that's a thing. That's like the scariest part about going to parties is like the cops, like there's like a 99% chance the cops are just gonna bust this thing open and some people get arrested and we just risk it anyways.
That's literally it, yeah. If we're kind of just like, yeah, whatever, it's fine, you know.
Okay, so continue with your story. Sorry, you just reminded me that that's a thing.
No, it's not really like super crazy or anything, but I remember like this is I think the second party of like the night. I think once again I was kind of like under the influence, but I ended up like kissing I think 2 random ass guys. I don't even remember.
Let's go.
It's not really anything, but like I was like, what the fuck? I don't really have any super crazy stories, but it's just a lot of like. A lot of just random like ass things, you know.
I feel like the craziest thing for me was whenever I was like 17, I was at a party, and I'm like walking around like holding a drink that I don't even fucking like it was some nasty ass beer that I hated. I'm like sitting there drinking, just like I fucking hate this. I'm like semi drunk, and then all of a sudden I open up a bedroom because I saw some people go into it that I knew, and so I open up the bedroom and I walk in there and they all look like like they look at me like, oh my god, and then I look at what they're doing and they're literally doing lines of coke, and I just go. Just close the door and just get out. I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, bro, we're 17. We're too young to be doing coke. What are you doing?
Oh my god, yeah, that's insane.
It's weird how like normalized coke has gotten now, though. I feel like I see coke a good amount now. Like it's insane.
Oh my god, yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of really straight edge. Like whenever people talk about like the stuff that they've done at parties and stuff, like. I just like I'm a serial kisser. Like it's bad, and I mean I will say that this was like pre-COVID times. I think now with COVID I would be a lot safer.
Well, now she would kiss through the mask.
Oh yeah, no, yes.
Kiss through the mask. Kiss me through the mask. Yeah.
Best Soldier Boy remix. Kiss me through the mask.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I had like a really like. I don't know. I like kissing people, I guess, and it's not the best habit to have, I guess. I don't know.
You know,
that's like.
No, I feel that though, Rosie. Yeah.
But I don't like kissing people when I'm sober. So, like, if I'm
really,
yeah, I'm like all for kissing.
Wait,
anybody,
you actively
like,
dislike it, or like you don't like you just don't like kissing random people?
No, I don't like kissing people. Like,
interesting.
It's very,
okay,
like I don't even like kissing my like the boyfriends that I've had. I've been like.
Interesting.
And then I'll get drunk and I'm like, come here, let me kiss you. Like it's just like I don't know. I have no idea what it is.
What would you say? Just, what would you say if you had to like say off the top of your head? What would you say your love language is?
Words of affirmation, 100%. Like, you know, and quality time also. Those two,
Quality
like,
time,
and
yeah.
they're just like this. I always kind of go into this a little bit about how like those two are the easiest I think to give. Just say whisper sweet nothings in my ear, and then just literally hang out with me a little bit, and I'll like love you. And like it also sets you up to be like taken advantage of so easily because they don't actually have to like.
There's not like a lot of work involved to like actually get right. But I also think that like there is also something to be said for like those being the best two, because I think if the other person's love language that like to give isn't those two, it's still easy to do. You know what I mean? Like you don't like I feel like there are situations where like for me, my love language is definitely like physical touch. Like that's my first one. And there are times where like people are uncomfortable with like touching people. You know, like they're like, I don't really like you just said like, oh yeah, I don't really like kissing people whenever. That would be like such a deal breaker for me. Like I'd be like, no, like I can't survive. Like,
I know. I'm not like much of a, I don't know.
But that's just me. But I don't know. I just think that like having those two that you have, it's like you said, it's the easiest one. But I didn't even think about it from a standpoint of being taken advantage of, because they could just easily.
I was gonna say it could be kind of dangerous because a lot of guys that like I've had contact with or stuff like that, a lot of partners I've talked to, their actions speak differently than their words. So it's like it's hard because I feel the same way, because like one of my love languages is like that, like words of affirmation is like definitely like high up there. So like I don't know.
What would you say is your number one, Katie?
I didn't really know for a while, but I think it's actually gift giving or something like that, which is weird because I hate receiving gifts, but I really like giving. Like if I give you a gift.
Oh, so you mean your love language, like your love language to give is gift giving?
Yeah. Like I don't really like receiving them, but like because like I'm not very good with like giving like gifts and stuff like that, but like if I give you a gift and it's like well thought out and stuff like that, it's like I like you. Like
right. I think if I get a gift from a partner, I don't like it as much. Like it makes me feel like how do you say? I guess it makes me feel like maybe I'm supposed to react a certain way and I might not. Like I think that I have a little bit of trauma from my childhood from that, to be honest, because like the amount of times that like somebody would get me something and like I just didn't respond correctly, my dad would like fucking flick me in the back of the head or smack me or some shit and be like, what the fuck, you didn't react right. And now I'm like, how do I react to getting things? Like it kind of stresses me out whenever people give me shit. But I don't know. I think that like the number one that I like the most in a person is quality time, because I fucking love just hanging out with people. Like just literally just vibing, just like sitting there watching a movie, like anything, just doing anything with somebody I enjoy.
I think that's also like a really big one. I think quality time, words of affirmation, and I think gift giving are like my big ones. Because like I know you said, Tyler, like touch is really big. I don't know why, but like I kind of get like a lot of anxiety with touch. Like even if like you're my partner, like I get anxiety because I don't know like how much touch is like too much or how little touch is. Like there's so much.
It
like,
also
that's such, like, a
that is a hard one to do. I feel like honestly well with anything like in a relationship, I think the easy way to like kind of get through that is just by like having really clear communication. Like for example, like I always tell like my partners, I'm like literally I don't give up. Like if we're I don't care. Just touch me however you want. Like I don't care. like whatever.
Really?
I'm sitting there in a museum. She's like choking me. I'm like, Jesus, damn. She really meant it when she said that. But no, I'm like, yeah. I just you can do whatever. And then I'm like, and then tell me what your boundary is, because I'm like, I wouldn't say I'm like a super PDA person, but I'm like definitely the kind of person like have my hand on your back or like be trying to hold your hand or playing with your hair or like putting my arm around you or whatever. Whenever we're in public, and some people just aren't like comfortable with that. You know, like you gotta have that conversation.
Don't touch me in public.
That's
really?
me too. Yeah, literally.
Yeah, like don't. If we're in public, like I have a hard time even like holding my boyfriend's hands.
Used to be like that, which is weird.
Same.
It's weird now that I'm such like a physical touch person, because I swear to God, like I was just talking to my ex about this the other day. She's like, do you remember whenever you used to like recoil whenever I would like kiss you in public? And I'm like, yes, I used to hate that. I'm like, I used to hate that. Like if she kissed me or like touched my hand or anything, I was like, what are you doing? Like there are children afoot. Like they can see us.
No, exactly. Like I'm just like, don't. You know those couples, like, okay, I used to be a waitress, and there would be a couple that would come in. I mean, not like regularly, but I did see them a couple of times. It would be like a Saturday night. They were drunk. They were in a booth, and like I swear to God, he was fingering her under the booth, like
oh my
in
God,
the restaurant, just like
holy shit,
like. And like or they were like sitting on each other's laps, like making out, and I'm like, that's too much.
That's too much.
This
Oh my
is
God.
think about the children.
No, the most that you will get from me in public would be either a hug or like a kiss on the mouth, like like just a regular kiss. But I'm not gonna be like sitting there like trying to fuck you, like
Yeah.
Bro, that's like
like
this one girl that I was talking to at one point. She was like, do you have the Vibe? I think it's called Vibe. She's like, do you have the Vibe app on your phone? And I was like, no, I don't know what that is. She's like, it's like a sex toy. Like I can wear it on this date. I'm like, this is our first date, and you want me to control a sex toy on our first fucking date while we're eating ramen?
Damn.
I'm like, excuse me? She was a freak for real,
She
but I was like, absolutely
it.
not.
Honestly, that girl, she knows what's up. I don't know.
she knows what's up,
I mean,
but
maybe
she
not
also
first date material.
bro,
but,
first
like...
date. That's what I'm saying. Like I can
No,
understand. I can understand if you guys have been dating for 7 years. Everything's you want to spice it up a little bit, but like
Yeah.
first date.
No, I've heard about these guys like meeting these girls like off of Tinder and them just being like wild cards, like just absolutely like ready to go, and I'm like, damn.
I've had
like,
both. I've had both experiences. I've had them like where and like I think that I am the type of person that doesn't really want that. Like, hey Evan, thank you for the follow. I'm one of those people that like I don't really want to like. I don't know. I think that I'm kind of rare in this way because I'm a physical touch guy, but I also do not want to fuck you on the first time I meet you. You know what I mean? Like I'm just not interested in that.
Good. Yeah.
It's just not something.
Like,
it's just not something that I like. And so like whenever like girls are like that, it's almost like a turn off to me. It's like, dude, like what the fuck? Like how have you met me? You know me for an hour and a half, and you're already like, anyways, let's fuck now. I'm like, no, let's not. Let's think about this a little longer. Like you could end up being an insane person, and I could accidentally get you pregnant, and then for the rest of my life, now I have to fucking deal with your crazy ass. You know, like I don't want to do that.
Yeah. I find that more sincere if like guys are like that. You know what I mean? Because like I always like dread it because like I would always like go and like hang out with them, you know what I mean, if I found them cool and stuff, and I dread that part of the night when I know like they're only bringing me back because of that. Like there's no other reason.
Bro, if I bring you back to my house, we're about to just be like watching anime, like it's, you know what I mean, like
right, or something, you know, like
there might be some cuddling, but that's about as hard as it's gonna go.
I don't want to expose myself, so I'll just agree with you
well,
guys.
to be honest, like I was about to say before we even got there, I was about to say I don't think
it's all to the person.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think that the opposite is wrong. Like I don't think that if you are into hooking up, that's fine. Like do you? But I'm just saying like what I like and what they like is different. And I'm like, damn, like this is like already like a huge like difference between us, and we're on the first date. You know what I mean? It's like damn.
Yeah, definitely.
But
like I was gonna say, it all depends on like what you're looking for. You know what I mean? Like it differs for like every single person.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of just like when it comes to dating, things are so different for so many people. Like there have definitely been, first dates where I've been like, okay, I'm not actually interested in, pursuing this like in that way. And then the guy has been like, and I'm just like,
And you're like, ah.
Yeah. There was one date that I had where it was actually one of the first times I went on like a Tinder date, and basically he picked me up. We went to dinner. We went to do you know what BJ's is?
Yeah.
You know what BJ's is? Yeah, so it's like a brewery and something, and basically went there, and this man ordered, he was 21, I was like 19 at the time, and he ordered like an adios, a shot of tequila, like he was going crazy on our first date, and I was just like, what am I supposed to do? Like, cause he was like, do you want anything? I'm like, I'm 19, I can't do anything. He was like, oh.
Yeah,
like,
what the heck?
Yeah, and so then like we went to see a movie afterwards, and mind you, he was buzzing at this point, and he like was trying to make out with me the whole movie, and I was like, I'm a film major, I go to movies to actually watch movies.
Right.
Please don't touch me in public. Like, it was
wait,
the worst date I've ever been on.
Hold on, Evan just said, you guys get Tinder matches? Evan, I'm sure you get Tinder matches, bro. You're a good looking guy. No, but I think
this is facts.
I think that first of all, Evan, if you don't get any Tinder matches, I mean, you can always slide in my DMs. But secondly, I think that like you have to be able to read the room better. You know what I mean, Rosie? Like I feel like that was that situation where that guy was just not reading the room at all. I feel like I had a moment the other day where this girl said. I just wasn't really vibing with her, you know what I mean? Like it was just one of those dates where I'm like, yeah, you know, this is fun, whatever, but I'm probably not gonna be talking to you after this. And so like I'm getting into my car, I like give her a hug. I'm like, anyways, this is fun. And she goes, you're not gonna kiss me? I go, I like made something up because this is definitely not true. But I go, I don't really kiss on the first dates. And she goes, really? I'll suck your dick on the first date. And I just thought that was such such a hilarious like response to that.
Oh my god, I love her, dude.
I literally,
out there.
dude, I literally died. I know. I'm like, what a champion! Like you're a hero.
Yeah,
I literally just bent over laughing in the middle of that, and then got back in my car and drove off as fast as I fucking could. I did not get wrapped up in that. No, but
that's hilarious.
I don't know. I think speaking on first dates, where do you guys think is like a good? Because this is the problem with first dates. I think that a lot of people will have like the idea of like doing a first date and making it easy on themselves, but making it to where you actually don't like get to know the person. You know what I mean? So like what I did in the past, where I was like, oh god, like I don't want to have to like actually interact with this person, which is the opposite of what you should be doing on a first date. I'd be like, I'm gonna go to the movies, so that way we still hang out, and then we don't have to talk to each other. And then I realized that's so counterproductive to what you're trying to do. So what do you guys think is like the perfect first date? Like what's the first date where you're like, wait, arcade?
Arcade.
Jeez.
It's an arcade for me.
Really?
Because I'm a gamer. I need to see if you're a gamer. Like, can we play together? The Jurassic Park ride game is the best one. Like, literally, if you guys can win the highest level together, basically
you guys just accomplished something together. You accomplished something together. You hung out. You had a good time. That is such a fucking good one.
You get tickets, and then you guys can like either like compromise and get something together, or like, you know, split your tickets and get something each other. Like, I'm thinking of those arcade, like, I don't know if for me it was called Mountasia, but like,
bro,
basically
fuck!
it was like,
I didn't know that was a thing that they had everywhere. I thought that was just here. Oh, hell yeah.
So it's like an
was
arcade, mini karting, mini golf, like all that kind of stuff.
It
and
had
you
everything.
just do that, and and you guys get to see what y'all about. Laser tag.
Laser tag.
Ooh,
bro,
laser tag.
Bro, Rosie's using like Apex strategies and
no, dude, let me tell you, because every single time that I go out on a date and I go to an arcade, I tell them I'm the most competitive person you will meet. I will shit on you. Like, I'm not kidding. And if you can't handle me doing that, then we're not compatible. Like, and then if they're better than me, I'm like, if they play better than me, I'm like, oh god, I'm so turned on right now. That was so hot.
I also think it's a good way to like find out if a guy is like, I don't know, or like a partner is like what would you say? Like, sometimes I feel like whenever you see how somebody reacts to losing or winning, you can learn a lot about somebody. Like, if somebody wins and they're like, "Fuck you, pussy! Ah, get wrecked!" Like, then you know it's like damn, they really just said that to a 10-year-old. but whenever they win and they're just like, "Oh yeah, it was a good game. You were competitive, da da da," but they still won. It's like, okay, that's a good quality. Or when they lose and they're like a sore loser, you're like, like, fuck you. Why are you such a sore loser? Like, I hate a sore loser.
I'm literally the worst type of person. Like, I'm like, it's a 10-year-old kid. I'm like, you little shit! You're never gonna have a career.
Damn.
And then when I lose to the 10-year-old, I'm like, god damn, I just got killed by a 10-year-old. So it's just like, I'm literally the worst kind of person. I'm sorry.
I think that in video games, I'm so fucking uncompetitive. Like, I just don't give a fuck if I win or lose. Like, I could give zero fucks if I win or lose any video game that I play. I literally, I don't get it.
Get wrecked, nerd.
And that's why I felt so bad during the Apex tournament, because I was with Koji and Jordy, like, playing it, and they're like so competitive, and I was like, I'm trying my best.
Bro, Bob's gonna test. Bob's and I went and played Top Golf. And literally, I was like, like, just like swinging the club, like, just didn't give a fuck the entire time. We're just having a blast. Bob's is literally a fucking golf pro. He's like, whap, and it just goes like flying, and I'm just like, I look like Happy Gilmore except less athletic somehow. Like, I just am not doing a good job. But yeah,
Oh
I don't know.
my God,
I've never been like competitive, especially like if I'm on a first date. I feel like sometimes I'll do this thing where I'll start getting so like in my head about what's like I'm trying to think like, okay, would they think it's appropriate for me to do X, Y, or Z thing? And then I realize you got to just be yourself. Like you can't be like so worried about how they're going to react to everything that you do, you know?
Yeah, no, exactly. I have a really bad tendency of like on a first date finding out like what the guy likes, like if he likes, if he likes it for a girl to come off like intelligent and very like well spoken and you know that, or if they like it like a more goofy like quirky kind of girl, like I will just chameleon into that and like become this like ideal person for them, and then I'm just like I'm not even myself. I'm exhausted. Like I end the date and I'm like, oh, I'm so tired from trying to pretend to be somebody.
Yeah, because you can't keep that going for that long. You know, like you can only do that for like an hour. You know, you can't like you can't be somebody's ideal thing forever.
Yeah, the span of the date, and then they're always like second date, and I'm like, dude, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't go on a second date with you. Like, I'm so exhausted.
That's why it's so important to just like kind of be yourself. I feel like it's I don't know.
Well, I feel like it also depends on like the certain guy that partner that you're like with. You know what I mean? Because if you find someone who has like these expectations towards you, you're gonna naturally feel inclined to act a certain way.
Especially if you're a people pleaser like me. Like I'm such a fucking people pleaser. I just want people to be like, yeah, I really like this person so bad that I will literally like act like I'm a totally different person. So I have to be careful. Like I have to like actively think like, no, just do whatever you would actually do in this situation. Like don't think, I wonder what she'll think if I do this and that. I'm just like, I'm just gonna do whatever I'm gonna do.
Yeah, and that's why like whenever I'm at an arcade, I'm like, okay, this is my element. I can just be myself and not have to pretend to be like docile, because my competitive nature will just take over, and I'll be like, sorry, I can't let you win.
You know,
I can't. I just simply can't let you win.
You just reminded me. I was on a date actually at an arcade, but it was at what's it called, Main Event, and so we did bowling first, whatever. And this is how I knew that this person was actually really fucking funny and cool. Is we were walking past this kid was like freaking out and like running around like crazy, and the kid ran past the girl, and she like acted like she was gonna kick the kid for a second. And it was so funny. Like it was just such a fucking like off-color joke. It was just such a horrible thing to do. But she just like looked at me and we both just started dying laughing. Like we were just like, oh my god, I can't believe you just did that. Like, it was just so fucking funny.
God.
Or like we walked past this couple was doing VR, and if you've ever like when you're in VR, you feel so fucking cool. Like you're like, dude, I'm in Jurassic World. Like this is the future.
Yeah, you literally don't feel as though you're like you're existing in the surroundings.
Exactly. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You literally feel like you are in that other world.
In that world. So like whenever I'm in VR, I always have to keep it at the back of my mind that you are sitting in a chair or you are standing and don't hit the window, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, so they had VR at this arcade, and I was watching Katie. You just described it perfectly, because I was watching this couple play VR. And we were walking past them, and we were just dying watching them because they just look so stupid. They're like in the middle of this arcade, and they're like, yeah, ooh, I'm gonna get him. And everybody else just walking around normally, and they're just so into it. They have no idea like how silly they look, and we were just dying laughing watching them. I have a funny story about VR. I was in a VR world one time. I'm playing this game where I'm in a shootout with cops and robbers, and I'm a cop, and I'm literally in my room by myself in my fucking underwear, bent down, acting like I'm shooting a bad guy. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting him. And then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I gotta reload. I'm like, let me lean up against this cop car for a second, and I go to lean forward, and I literally just fall to the ground. I just let it go. I just keep falling because there was obviously no cop car there. But it's insane how like in it you feel. VR doesn't interest me at all. You gotta try it, Chris. You gotta try it.
It's so cool, especially like VR chat. Like, there's so many there's so many like amazing worlds that like it just, you feel totally like in it.
It's like, weird how like no matter how cartoony the world looks, you're like, yeah, this is real. Like you'll just like instantly believe something's real if you're in VR for some reason.
I've never tried VR. I just worry that I would have I get really bad motion sickness.
Oh yeah,
so,
you gotta
like,
be careful.
Certain games.
Well, so certain games on the Oculus
really
store, the way they do it, Rosie, is they have like a little rating next to each game that tells you like how susceptible you are to motion sickness of this game. So like if you're like me, like I'm also susceptible to motion sickness. The way that I got into VR is I started out by only playing the games that were like they were like, you will not get motion sick from playing this game. Like that's basically what they're saying. And I had to work my way up to where I could play like the harder games. And once I got to like the really hard ones, I would get sick after like a few hours. Like I can only play for a little bit before I was like, okay, like I'm starting to feel a little sick. But
there was one game I played like online, not even an Oculus, but it was basically you were like on a ship. And I guess in the game they like tried to like make the rocking of the ship in the game like very faintly. Like it was not anything like because most people played it and it was fine. I literally almost threw up. Like I was trying to get there because I was streaming it. You know, so I was trying to get through it.
Your body's standing
exactly
still, and then it's like it's sending your brain mixed signals.
Dude,
so,
exactly.
Yeah.
Just you describing that just made me feel slightly nauseous. Like I just even
like,
hearing
I was
that.
Like I had to end stream and be like, I can't play this, guys. I'm getting really sick.
Like, I got nauseous
I actually
one time.
threw up on.
Oh really? Damn.
Yeah. Because I was playing BioShock and the motion blur. Motion blur and it gets me really nauseous. Like I just can't handle it. And I had like I guess I had bad fish tacos that day. So basically like I basically was playing and then I was like, oh fuck, and I just ran from my like I was streaming and everything and I ran and threw up really quick and I came back to stream. I was like I threw up.
Rosie the champ. She goes, I throwed up.
I know. Mom, I threw up.
I love that meme where it's like why kids always come to the room whenever they're sick like this. Mom, I throwed up. It's so true. No, I don't know. I feel like VR is literally the future, but we're just kind of waiting for it to kind of catch up. Like I feel like once VR like gets to where it's a little bit more streamlined, it's not so bulky, then it'll be like nobody's gonna be playing regular video games anymore. You know what I mean?
I mean, honestly, like with the like rise with VTubers and stuff like that, we're getting closer and closer to Ready Player One. I didn't
even think about how much that definitely impacts VR. Yeah, you're right. Like that's probably a huge like push to VR. I think like the craziest thing, like the thing that made me realize like how crazy VR could be is whenever I was playing, it's called Pavlov, and it's a first-person shooter where you're in VR, and I was like, this is fucking I'm literally playing Call of Duty, but I'm like looking around and controlling the character, and like I have to hold the gun up like this to shoot. I'm like, dude, this is fucking insane. Yeah, like everybody's talking about like the SAO lifestyle, bro. That's what it feels like a little bit. Link Stark type vibe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like we're getting closer to that like every day. I definitely feel like in the future it's gonna come down to that in a way.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it'd be healthier for us.
Oh yeah, well I think whenever they get Rosie, like whenever they get it to the point where like you can, so like there's games that are called free space VR, and it's basically like, hey, we will define your play area, by like making like a circle with your little wand thing, and then you're gonna be moving in that space. So if your play area is like 10 by 10, the game will adapt and give you a 10 by 10 environment to be able to walk around in. And so I think either that or they're going to create some sort of thing where you can stay in like a stationary area, but you can run anywhere. They're going to have that. And like, that's going to be the thing that makes it to where like everybody's going to be super in shape.
I mean, like if I had to even just stand, I mean, just standing is healthier than sitting at a desk all day. So like, that's my theory onto like why it would just be healthier in general, because like right now I'm trying to grind to Diamond and Apex, and like that means I'm sitting in my chair, just moving my arm and my fingers all day, and like it's just like sometimes I'm like, I should probably stand up and stretch and do something. But if you were doing VR, you'd already be standing.
You'd already be doing that. I know. I saw I'm on the Oculus subreddit, and I saw a guy say that he lost, I'm trying to remember, but it was some ridiculous amount of weight, and he had before and afters for this. So
really?
Do you know what Beat Saber is?
Yeah.
So it's like Guitar Hero. If you don't know, it's like Guitar Hero for like the Oculus.
Lightsaber.
It's like lightsaber Guitar Hero. Yeah. And so he posted a before and after picture and video of whenever he first started playing, which was like, I think it was like a year and a half or something like that. And he was like 450 pounds. No, he was like 400 pounds, and he was like severely overweight, obviously. And then the next picture, after he'd been playing it for like a year and a half, he was like 220 pounds and like in shape.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like he was like in, like he looked like, if you saw this guy, you'd be like, he works out. Like you would look at him and think that. And he goes, all I've done is played Beat Saber. He goes, I haven't worked out. I haven't gone to the gym. I just changed my diet slightly and played Beat Saber. Because, and when you play Beat Saber, like you end up sweating like crazy. Like you're literally drenched.
Yeah. because you're moving your arms and stuff. Like.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
I wanted to get a DDR mat and play it
that would be sick.
Stuff.
Wait,
I feel
is DDR the next meta? I just realized all I have to do is I'll put a DDR mat inside of a hot tub and I'll wear a bikini, and then I'll be like, oh he, I'm playing DDR, and then I'll turn around and write people's name on a whiteboard from time to time. It'll be great. Maybe get
bounce.
Yeah, my titties will bounce. I just broke TOS for my titties bouncing. I can't do that again. I went on a run and I was wearing I went on a run.
You really?
Yeah, I went on a run in the fucking rain like an idiot, wearing a white wife beater tank top. Like it was just not enough. And I was running and I'm running and I put the camera towards me, and then all of a sudden I look at myself. I'm like, I flip the camera back around. I'm like, oh wait a second. I'm like, yeah, we can't do this. Tyler went on a run.
Oh
Katie, did you really?
That's not what I meant.
You meant just on stream.
Yeah, I meant did you get did you get DMCA'd for that or whatever? Not DMCA'd.
I just broke TOS, but I think it's because I'm so small.
Or whatever.
I think because my stream's so small, they're not gonna find anything like that. But
and nobody reports you.
Yeah,
it's mostly streams that get really reported on that.
Yeah,
aspect.
right. I mean, I was
streaming.
You
keep constantly really breaking TOS. You know what I mean?
You gotta realize that stream was 27 hours long by the time that I had broken the TOS. You know what I mean? So it's like come on, I think we're good.
Whatever intern that would have to go through that is
they're like I'm getting paid $5 an hour. I'm good. You know, I'm not gonna do this right now. Yeah. No, so what do you guys think about the whole? I think we've talked about this quite a bit, but I'm still just interested. I like getting other people's perspective. What do you guys think on is her name Amaranth? Is that how you say her name? Amaranth.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about all of that? Where do you guys stand on all of that?
You want to go first, Katie?
It's a vague question, so it's difficult to
go. I mean, if you want me to, I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I remember last time on the podcast, I think I said something around the same thing of I feel like there are other places for it. I don't really feel comfortable with it being on Twitch because it kind of feels like they're trying to find ways to break the to get around it. You know what I mean? To get around rules and stuff like that. And it kind of feels like gross. I'm all for people getting their bag and stuff like that, right. Women getting their bag. But I just think there are other places to do it other than Twitch. I don't know. I could be wrong, and I probably am, but that's just how I stand right now.
I don't. So I've completely gotten my I've gotten my stance down on this completely because I've thought about this so fucking much. I've thought about this more than I've thought about what I'm doing with my life. I've thought about this so much, and so what my final stance is on this is this: they know what they're doing, but I do not blame them for making the bag when Twitch is not making it against TOS to do it. You know what I mean? They're just exploiting a system that exists. So in other words, if Twitch wants this to stop, Twitch has to change. It's not on them to stop. It's on Twitch to change the TOS. So in other words, I feel like they're not doing anything wrong because they're not going against Twitch. But then again, I did say on the last one, Katie, I don't know if you remember this, but I was like, have you ever heard the thing where they say art when you see it? I kind of feel like that about this, where I'm like, I know it's wrong, but I just can't quite put my finger on why. I'm looking at it why is that? Why do I remember that. Wrong? And that's how I feel. I'm like now that I've thought about it a little more, I think it's wrong because it is exploiting something, but that's not on them. They're making the bag, they're making the bag, they're getting their money. So it's really on Twitch to fix it. But I also agree with your point, Katie, only because of the advertisers part. People are not going to want to advertise on Twitch if it's sexually explicit content.
That's true.
And so you have to be worried about that. Which now OnlyFans is changing their whole shit. So I don't know where the fuck they go now. You know what I mean? I don't know where the place to go is now.
Really? Did OnlyFans become a problematic?
We'll talk about that right after I get Rosie's perspective. Rosie, what's your perspective on the whole situation?
I really have a very similar take on it as you. I would say I don't think that Twitch is specifically the place to do it just because there are platforms that are already good for that, and Twitch is more, it's supposed to be just a PG kind of thing, and I don't know. I don't really have like a, hard opinion on the whole situation. It hasn't affected me in that way for me to really care. Like,
True.
The big thing is that, like, people, I've heard a lot of guys in particular say, like, oh, all they have to do is put their tits out and whisper into a mic, and then they have, thousands of people stealing everybody else's viewers, blah blah blah. And it's like, what kind of content are you putting out that your viewers are getting stolen?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Briggs said the same thing. Briggs goes,
Yeah.
I don't think these guys understand that the kind of guys that are going to her content are not the same kind of guys that are coming to your fucking content. She's not stealing shit from you.
Like, yeah,
exactly.
They're not stealing anything from you. Like
your target audience is different.
Yeah, very
yeah,
different.
like, stop feeling like you're entitled to viewers. And, that she has your viewers,
and
like,
that she has anything to do with you. Like, y'all are so
Yeah.
independent. Like, it's not even funny. Like, y'all have zero to do with each other. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
No, exactly. Like, even me, who is like a girl streamer in this atmosphere, never once felt like she was stealing my viewers because there was another girl streamer. Like, no, stop it. You're making a competition out of something that, like, one, like, shouldn't be competed out, and two, you wouldn't even be able to stop,
right. You know what I find interesting about this topic is that every time that I brought it up, I always expect it to be really controversial, and then everybody has the same opinion. I feel like almost everybody's like, yeah, I mean, it's really just on Twitch, it's not really on that. Like, I feel like everybody's kind of on the same wave.
Yeah, any type of, like, I think emotionally intelligent and mature adult would be able to say, like, yeah, no, I mean, we're all adults here. People make their own decisions and have their own autonomy, and therefore will go and watch whatever they want to watch. Maybe don't do it on this platform, but at the end of the day, they are doing it.
Like, if you want to make, make money that way, then do it. Like, I'm all for that, but yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so it's like, it's only those, immature guys who feel like women are stealing something from them,
right?
That they feel like women are, like, it's just like, just admit that you hate women.
Just admit you're an incel.
Just admit that you haven't been laid and you just hate girls for not, like,
it is
doing
so
it.
crazy the way that men, like, I've met so many men in my life that, like, start going down that path, and it's insane to me. Like, it's crazy to me that could even be, like, a path that you go down. Is like you get rejected a handful of times, and the next thing you know, you're like, actually, fuck all women. It's like, what the fuck? Like, how'd you get there? Like, how'd you get there so fast? Tech says, hold up, why Rosie calling me out? Tech, I think we know that you don't have that problem.
I don't know, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it.
I doubt it. Yeah, no, it's just like, for me, it's very, I feel as though that issue with men in particular comes up because they feel entitled to a woman's body, and therefore when it's not just freely given to them, they lash out and say, well, actually, fuck you. Like, and then it becomes
such
like
a wild mindset.
And
or
so
like they feel like very controlling. Like,
excuse me. Yeah, no. It's just kind of like it makes no sense, but I definitely think that's why it turns into that.
It's funny the way that it comes up in conversation whenever I'm talking to guys about that. I'll just be talking to guys, so I'll just be talking to them, and like, it'll just be like a normal ass conversation, and then they'll just say something that's kind of subtle where I'm like, what did you just say? Like, wait, did you just say like you hate women because they don't go on dates with you, you fucking lazy motherfucker? Like, I'm like, dude, like, just because you're not, like, going out and doing the things that would actually facilitate you getting a date doesn't mean it's anybody else's fault but yourself. Like, I think that if people just stopped blaming other people, and, like, this is advice that I heard a long time ago, and it served me so fucking well. So listen up if you need some advice. They said, whenever you get into a situation where something's not going your way, do not blame anybody but yourself. look directly at yourself. Sometimes it's really not even your fault. Blame yourself anyways. Like, blame yourself and be like, oh, what did I do for this to happen? You know, like, why? So in other words, like, oh, girls aren't coming your way. Have you noticed that you have a neck beard and you're wearing some shit ass clothes and you smell and you need to cut your hair and also your personality sucks? Like, have you ever looked at any of those things? Like, maybe start looking at yourself first. Yeah, grow. Gig says, look in the mirror and grow. Exactly. Because like, there's so many times where I'll hear somebody complaining about something, and they'll be like, oh my god, yeah, this is going wrong, this is going wrong, this is going wrong. It's all this person's fault. I'm like, really? It's your fault, and you're just trying to blame other people because it's much easier to blame other people than actually deal with yourself.
Yeah, I always just say look at the common denominator.
Yeah,
like, if something keeps happening to you where you're like, damn, this person keeps, throwing me under the bus, and another person threw me under the bus, and this person, it's like, well, you can make some adjustments saying like, well, maybe you shouldn't talk to those kinds of people. True. You know what I mean? Like, if it truly is that they are just being bad people, you can still make a change in yourself where you like are discerning of the people that you hang out with. Right. So it's just kind of like, at the end of the day, we all have to be an active participant in our own lives and make decisions that will lead us to good places. So, whether or not, like, also blaming other people makes you, one, passive. You can't actually do anything about it.
It's out of your control.
You take all, you're like, oh, out of my control. So then it's just going to keep happening to me. And on two, you can't actually make any healthy adjustments to improve on yourself.
Right.
Like, why would you want that?
That's like the entire point of that advice. So it's really I'm happy that you like articulated it that way, because I feel like I didn't articulate that properly. But like, the whole reason that you blame yourself instead of other people is exactly what Rosie just said. What do you gain from saying, like, let's just say like I'm running into an issue and I say, God, it's because Rosie keeps on doing X, Y, or Z thing. Well, guess what? You can't fucking do anything about Rosie doing X, Y, Z. So in other words, think, why is Rosie treating me this way? Oh, it's because I'm doing this to her, or I'm acting this way to her. So if I stop acting that way to her, then she'll stop doing this to me,
Yeah, or you can say, like, Rosie has some trauma that she never worked through, and therefore is projecting that onto me, and I don't know if I can necessarily be her friend anymore, knowing that she's going to continue to treat me this way. Like, it's simple, like, for me, I keep a handful of people close, and the rest of the people I kind of have at arm's length, because it's just kind of like I know how some people act, and I'd rather not associate with them, if that makes sense. And I don't think that necessarily makes me a bad person. It just makes me
Do you guys feel like do you feel like you mostly don't trust people, or you mostly do trust people? Like,
I'm way too trusting. Way too trusting.
That's a really hard question.
Yeah, it is. It's a difficult question because it's like you can look at it from so many angles. Because like, I only recently have started trusting people. Like, I literally used to act like if you would have seen me on the street like 2 years ago, you would have seen the most paranoid motherfucker, because I thought everybody was out to get me. Like, I was just like always looking around like, oh god, like, when's somebody gonna try to fuck? Because I just dealt with so many shitty people.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah,
I think that's where I'm
at.
Well,
it happens because you deal with shitty people so
like
much.
Now, like, I'm just like I'm kind of just over it. Like, I've dealt with like so much to the point where I'm like, it's gonna take me a while to get back to like that trusting phase. Right. I feel like. Yeah.
Well, I feel like when you have to be somewhere in between. You can't be way too trusting, and you can't be way too paranoid, because if you're way too trusting, you can get hurt. If you're way too paranoid, you never open yourself up enough to actually like have good human interactions, and then you'll just keep like the vicious cycle will continue. You'll just keep being like really closed off. Because like I was telling Katie before we started, like, I just randomly decided to go to this like firework place and pop fireworks. And if I didn't, if I wasn't like a little bit more open than I was like 2 years ago, I would have never had like such a fun experience. We ended up meeting these people and had like a good time drinking and shooting fireworks with them. If this would have been 2 years ago, I'd been like, don't talk to me. Are you kidding me? What are you trying to get from me right now? That's how I would have acted.
That's where I'm at. And I know it's like really unhealthy where I'm at right now, but that is where I'm at.
Well, that's just where you're at, like, and like there's a reason that you got to where you're at, because that's how it was for me. It was like, damn, like I've just been fucked over so many times that I'm like, okay, I have to be careful about trusting people. And then once it turns from I have to be careful about trusting people to like I can't trust people. You know what I mean? And I think you're valid for that, for real. But
I don't know. I feel like for me, I'm very trusting of a lot of people because um I don't know. It's kind of one of those things where if somebody tells me something, I'm going to trust them. It's like innocent until proven guilty kind of thing. If I
Right.
have no reason to
Yeah,
not trust
that's
you, I'm
true.
going to continue to trust you. A lot of times with people, like my mom is extremely paranoid. Like she just constantly, if I tell her anything, she's like, "What do you mean? Well,
Yeah.
are they trying to like take advantage of you? Are they trying to steal something from you? Or are they?" And I'm like, "Dude, what are they gonna steal? Like what
Your
do I
heart.
have? Like yeah." And you know, my heart is strong enough to handle anybody stealing it. I'll get it back or I'll build a new one or grow a new one or whatever the fuck. Like I don't,
Damn.
for me it's just kind of like
Okay.
I don't know, it's just like for me I'm very
The liver.
I've been through like I know that I'm only 22, but I've been through a whole lot. Like in my lifetime I've been through a lot and I've always come out on the other side. So like give me your best shot kind of thing and I know that I can handle it. Like
Get you a girl like Rosie.
I know. Get you a girl like Rosie. She
Obviously.
confident for real. You don't gotta worry. You don't gotta worry about all that.
Like she
you
amazing.
guys are too nice. You guys are way too sweet to me. I don't know. I just kind of like stick to myself. I'm confident in myself. And like I feel like that's where my trusting comes from, where it's like, oh, you're gonna take advantage of me of what I can give. Well, I'm gonna know that I'm still like at the end of the day, you taking advantage of me is not a reflection of me. It's a reflection of you.
But
I gave
True.
you kindness. I gave you love. I gave you everything I could. That is a good thing, and I know that eventually that will return to me. You being a jerk and taking advantage of me and doing whatever you want to do to me is going to come back to you. And I truly think that the scales will weigh itself where it needs to be weighed.
You know what's funny is like I think
I have that exact same outlook. I think that's amazing.
it's a good outlook to have, but I think honestly, you know what's really funny about like what you said and like the way that you articulated is you kind of like talk about just like having your own internal strength and whatnot, like just being like, yeah, I'm like strong enough to handle all of this. I think that like one of the things that made me more trusting in people in general was just becoming more confident of myself, like physically, like just being like doing jujitsu. Okay, jujitsu counter go up, but like doing jujitsu and like being like, oh, I can handle myself, and like there's just not people like there's not many people that I will meet in my day to day that could like give me an actual hard time. You know what I mean? Like I could kind of just I could kind of just fuck up most of the population. So I'm just not like I'm not super afraid of like anybody anymore. And I feel like I was so afraid of like I would always kind of feel like, oh god, there's like always a threat of violence and like who knows what might happen. And now I'm like, oh, I do know what would happen. Like, I know what would happen if me and you got into a fist fight, so I'm not really afraid of you. And so, like, I think that, like, that was one of the things that made it where I could open up to people a little bit more because I'm like, oh, I'm not, like, afraid of people anymore. You know, like, I'm kind of like, oh, yeah, let's just open up and get to know them. Like, I feel like I'm so much more open and, like, free since that, but also like just like going through like a really bad breakup I think did the same thing to me, but like emotionally it was like oh, like look how much you just went through and now you're like on the other side and you're okay, you know. And so I think that it's like both aspects I think really helped me as a person specifically.
I think that when like this might be a little dark, so like kind of trigger warning in a way, but like I think when for me I struggled a lot with my mental health, right? I definitely was teetering on the edge of like should I stay, should I go kind of thing. I eventually like made the decision like I'm going to stay, and yeah, like it was good, but at the end of the day I also realized that like I'm not afraid to go, if that makes sense. So when it comes to anybody like hurting me or physically hurting me or mentally hurting me, it's just kind of like if I were to go, like, okay, great, you killed me, what now? Like, I'm not afraid of being murdered, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know, like, it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, I'm just solid in myself, where it's just like, my destiny is already in front of me.
Right.
Like, I have this very,
like your life
sense.
is beautifully made and you're kind of just following, you know what I mean, in a way
like your fate's already laid out, like it's like, oh yeah, if it's gonna happen,
that's
it's
what
gonna
I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say.
I feel like if I were to like, not saying that I don't have my own will or my own autonomy, right? Like we all make our own decisions, we all go our own places, but like if I'm going to run across a Ted Bundy, then I ran across a Ted Bundy. That's my life, like, you know. And it's just like for me, I just feel like I don't know, like I'm very
there's some freedom in that
knowing
though.
That,
like
there's a lot of freedom.
Because like that reminds me kind of like whenever I hear people that are religious, I'm like, fuck, it'd be so nice to just think that I'm going to heaven after all this. You know what I mean? Like to be like, oh, thank God I get to go to heaven after this. This is sick. Like I don't really care. But like having that philosophy is kind of is similar to me in the fact that it gives you like a lot of comfort, just knowing like it's kind of out of my control. I do that with surgeries, weirdly enough. Like whenever I'm going in for a surgery, this is literally what I think. Yeah. All I have to do is show up, then it's out of my control. It's all on him. You know, I'm like, really, my job's easy. I just gotta drive here.
Yeah, I have a belief that if you go through your life being good, just be good, have good intentions, show love and kindness to people, be the light that you want to see in the world. Just do that in your life, that it will come to you eventually. Like you might go through hard times. It doesn't mean that people aren't going to be mean to you. It doesn't mean that, you know, people are just gonna be kind to you all the time and give you everything you want. But if you are just kind to people and show kindness and be the light, then it will be repaid to you. Like it's just the way that life goes. And if you die by being kind and being trusting, then you died a good person.
Yeah,
you know what I
right.
mean? Like, you know, people can't take that away from you. So that's my opinion on
I think it's interesting. Like the only thing that I truly believe in is exactly what you just said. Like the only thing that I truly believe in is like some sort of karmic system. Like there's something going on where when you do good shit comes back to you. Like I don't know what does it, and I don't know why it happens, but every time that I do good shit happens to me. And so yeah, I don't know. I think, Katie, I just misread your message and almost just asked you to tell me about it right now.
Yeah.
I'm dumb.
Not now.
But yeah, so like, I don't know. I feel like that's the only thing that I really believe in. Because like any time that I've been like a shittier person in my life, or any time that I've been a great person in my life, what's happening to me in my life reflects that, like 100%. It's actually kind of strange.
And the only reason why I like texted you that right now, Tyler, is because like it kind of relates to what we're talking about. So
okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Can I read the message out loud or no?
No.
Okay. I won't.
I almost
read it out loud, but
yeah, no.
The circle of life. I mean, yeah, like I feel like, you know what's the weirdest part too is like every once in a while I have this thought, which I find this to be kind of like a damning thought. Like it's like not a good thought to have, I think, in my perspective at least. I'll have like this thought where I'm like, everything I do is so fucking insignificant, it does not matter. And if you start thinking like that, then like your life doesn't matter anymore. Like, so for example, I'll think like, okay, let's look at the geologic age of the earth, you know, like whatever. It's like 3.7 billion years old, I think. Dude, I've been here for fucking 23 years. I'm not even like a blink in the span of the earth. Like it doesn't matter what happens. And there's two ways you can look at that. You can either look at it as, oh, this is so freeing, it doesn't really matter what I can do, or you can look at it like I always fucking do whenever I go into these negative thought spirals where I'm like, oh my god, it doesn't matter what I do. I could do anything and it doesn't matter. Like it's just such a horrible, like, you know, place to be. I feel like
I don't know, if you feel like you matter, then that comes from like a sense of entitlement. Why do you feel entitled to matter?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you don't deserve to matter to anybody. You don't, just existing, wow, so does everybody else.
I think that this is the point though. You shouldn't expect to matter, but you should do things to hope that you could matter to somebody. You know what I mean? Like I hope that like my life partner, whoever that ends up being, like I hope I matter to them. You know what I mean? Because of the actions that I've done and the things that I've done. But you don't just get born mattering. You know what I mean? Like,
no, absolutely not. I think that like for me, I definitely chase, you know, validation. Like I will 100% say that like I'm very secure in myself, but I definitely feel more secure when other people are backing me up. Like, because I think everybody deals with self-doubt, feeling as though they're not good enough or they're not going to be able to achieve the things that they would like to achieve. And so when you are like that, you know, trying to say, hello, these are the things that I've put out into the world and these are the things that I'm trying to put out, people will say like, I will either validate you or invalidate you. Right. And finding people who will validate you, it's just kind of like, great, okay, we're good, like I have a support system, you know. And it's just like, it's nice, you know, if you can work for I don't know. I have my internal struggle is like when I was younger, I definitely felt like I wasn't like validated anyway. So I worked very, very hard to find what people find valid, and like worked to making sure that I achieved those things.
So you're saying like maybe you didn't really get it from your parents as much, so you sought out what would like get you validation?
Yeah, exactly. Like
Oh.
I saw that in a capitalist society, working very hard is, is something that a lot of people like. So like I worked on getting, a 4.0 in school without my parents like telling me to do it. I worked on being in extracurricular activities. Like I was going, and like I didn't really get the validation from my parents.
Even
but
after
I got
all
it from
that?
like teachers.
Right,
Yeah, I got it from teachers. I got it from students. I got it from my friends and stuff. So it's just kind of like I never really got it from those people, and I don't know, it was fine. Like I feel happy now. I don't really need it.
It's interesting the way that validation works, because like I feel like I got a good amount of validation from my mom, but I never really got it from my dad. And so I noticed like there's been a few things that I think came from that. I think one, like I always was like seeking out some sort of father figure, like my entire life. Like I've always like kind of just jumped from one person to another, like just keep on like, be like, oh, okay, well this guy's like now giving me some sort of validation. Okay, now this guy's giving me some sort of validation. Now this guy's giving me some sort of validation. And I think that was one thing. But the other thing that I think came from this, which I don't know why, like I'm not a fucking psychologist or something, but which is funny because I have this podcast. I now feel like I seek women validation, like female validation, a lot. Like I'm always like I want like to be validated by a woman. Like I don't know what it is, but for some reason I seek that out a lot. Like I think maybe it even comes from just being in a long relationship for a long time.
Yeah, and always having it.
Yeah, so like I always had it. Like I never had to like worry about it. And then once I didn't have it anymore, I was like, oh, I just realized like what a big part of my life that was, like having that validation that's always there. And there's something I don't know what it is, but there's a difference between like there's I think validation has like a feminine validation, and then there's a masculine validation. I think a lot of times whenever you're a guy, like masculine validation comes in the form of like good job for this sports activity, or good job for da-da-da. And then a lot of times feminine validation comes in the form of like, hey, good job on being a good person, or like good job, like I'm proud of you for doing this or that, or like getting in touch with your emotions and whatnot. And and like obviously like you can get feminine validation from a man, like you don't have to get that from a woman, but I feel like the part that I like seek the most is like the feminine type validation. But I don't know.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think that like I don't know, it's super interesting, the difference between like a male type of like expression and a female expression, and like how those kind of both play into effect. I don't know, it like I grew up with a single mom.
Same.
And so like I definitely have daddy issues 100%.
Same.
And so it's just kind of like yeah, and it's like I seek out male validation, and I've always been the type of person that puts myself in like male dominated like career paths. So like streaming is one of them, but then I also did the film industry, which is like a huge boys club. And I used to be very much the type of girl that was like, ew, pink, ew, like I'm a tomboy, like I hang out with the dudes, and like I am rough and tough. And then like slowly as I got older, I was like, dude, stop rejecting your femininity, thinking it's a bad thing. Like I started to accept it and like be like, pink chair, fuck yeah, pink lip gloss, hell yeah. Like
I feel like I had the opposite experience from you entirely, because like since my dad was like kind of not like, he was like in and out of my life, I'd say, like I had to like really embrace like my masculinity, and I feel like I really rejected my femininity a lot. Like I would like just not have any like if anything feminine happened, I'd be like, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. Like this is not good.
Yeah, so we had the exact same experience.
Right.
Then.
So we had the exact
same one. I'm just a girl that you know what I mean? It's the patriarchy. Like that's the patriarchy literally forces us to say anything maternal, anything feminine, anything like that, bad, negative, horrible. Like we can't can't allow ourselves to be that, because it's weak or whatever.
Yeah.
But then you realize, oh, well, actually,
it's like we're all just people,
Yeah, and embracing your femininity makes you stronger.
I think it's interesting the way that like when you look at like feminine or masculine terms in general, there's like a very clear like distinction between them in that way, which is like very much like the patriarchy at work, right? Like, you know, like you look at things and it'll be like oh yeah, weak, dainty, little that's feminine, and then big, strong, big man is masculine.
Powerful.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like it's and then I'm like actually my mom worked 60 hours a week and was a total fucking badass. Like I don't just to like keep us alive. Like
the best people I know, the most inspiring people I know, the ones that like worked hard to make sure that the family was functioning any kind of way are the women. Like,
right.
I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to come across, but I'm just saying in my anecdotal life, it's always been the moms, the sisters, you know, those people who try to keep the family intact and try and keep it functioning in a way. Like, and I feel like that also is a commentary on how men are viewed in the family dynamic. You know, men were told like just, you know, work and bring home the money and everything else will be done, and so they became a very absent figure in the life and in the family life. So it's just kind of like men need to be told, no, you have to play a part in this as well.
Yeah.
And like so I lost my train of thought. No, I got it back. Okay, so I feel like now we're kind of starting to break those those stereotypes apart, but we're still like so new to it where it's like not like commonplace, and those kind of stuff like still exists. Like I know of somebody who's like quote unquote dad is very homophobic and is very like you need to be like toxic masculinity and stuff like that, and it's very bad for like the kid. Like the kid cannot be like himself at all.
That was my exact situation. It was fucking insane. I literally thought you might have been talking about me for a second. I was like, why are you talking about me?
I'm not. I know someone else. Yeah, no, I know someone else who is going through the same shit, and I'm like, I don't understand why you can't just let people be themselves. Like, and I don't like, why does toxic masculinity have to be a thing?
Right.
Because like you're like, no matter if you're a guy or a girl, you're still human. You still go through hard times. You still cry and stuff like that. It's just like, I don't understand why it has to be like, no, you have to be big, strong man. You know, and you are a female, like you are weak female or whatever. It's so monkey brain.
It's so crazy,
like,
Katie, because like, you know what's the one that makes the least sense is the crying one. It's like, dude, that's just a basic bodily function. Like that'd be like you
stupid.
being like, oh, you're not allowed to pee if you're a guy. It's like, well, I gotta fucking do this. What do you mean? Like I have to do this. I don't know what you want me to do.
It's a normal. Oh my god, it's a normal human thing to do. Like, and you're not like allowed to do it. It's so stupid.
I remember I was talking to Sin one time, and I was like, man, like, I thought that I kind of didn't really have much like toxic masculinity. Like I thought I was like working on myself really well with that. And then I was crying in my car and I felt so ashamed. Like I was like, oh my God, I hope nobody sees me. Like I was like, oh geez. And then I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, why do I care if somebody sees me? Like everybody fucking cries. You know, it's not weird, but it was just like a strange moment to realize that, you know, to be like, oh fuck, like there's still a lot of work to be done, I guess, you know, like it's like, oh geez.
I know so many guys who are like, yeah, like toxic masculinity is a thing and we really need to work on it. And then like they cry and they like, you know, express their emotions to me. And then like, you know, a week down the line, they're like, hey, I'm so sorry for crying and like making you like hear that. I shouldn't have been so weak and I shouldn't have been like that, you know. And I'm just like,
yeah, what
are you apologizing to me for? Like, I'm your friend. I'm here for when you cry. Like, and the thing is that I've cried to them before and like have never apologized. And I'm like, do you expect me to apologize to you when I cry to you and vent out to you? And they're like, no. And I'm like, so then why the fuck do you feel like you need to apologize to me? Like, it's not that, you know, it's just, stop it. Like, I hate when they're like, I feel weak. I'm like, dude, going through your emotions is the strongest thing you can
because
do.
Like it's way weaker. Like people don't understand this. The easiest fucking thing you can do, whenever you're going through something like this is to be like, I'm just gonna act like this isn't happening. You know, like that's
like
I'm
Exactly.
just not gonna deal with this. Yeah,
I'm just gonna absorb it and swallow it
just
and
like
hope
it's
that it doesn't come up
bottling
later.
up. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
bottling.
Like bottling your emotions, and then it just like that. I have a really bad problem with that. Like it's really hard because especially because like I'm not very like expressive, like to a lot of people like in my life and stuff like that. So like it's really hard for me to communicate when something's going wrong because like I'm kind of such a, like a big people pleaser.
Yeah, me too.
A lot of the time, yeah. So it's like really hard to do that, but like it shouldn't.
Katie, do you feel like
you know
like whenever you in terms of being a people pleaser and like telling, do you feel like by telling these people something that you might be inconveniencing them? Because that's how I feel. I'm like, I don't want to have to like put my problems on these people.
That's literally the reason why I don't like go to a lot of people sometimes. Is like I don't want to like, you know, I don't want them to have to sit there and like take in all of my like baggage and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I just don't want them to like have to even just taking away time from their day. Like,
bro, that's it's tough too because like you never know what they're going through, and like I've been in situations where I've just had so fucking much going on. Like I'm just like going through the fucking ringer right now. Like people are dying in my life, and I fucking just went through a breakup. Like I'm just so stressed out. And then my friend will be like, "Let me dump all my fucking life's problems on you." I'm like, I can't. It's too much.
Yeah, like I can't do it right now.
Lonnie, thank you for the raid with Party 4.
Valid.
Appreciate it.
Because like you're amazing, Lonnie. Thank you.
Lonnie, we love you. We stand Lonnie here. Hope you had a good
stream. But I think that's like you know, valid to say like you know what, I really want to be here for you and you can tell me about anything, but I'm kind of going through my own stuff right now and I can't handle more stuff like on top of that. So maybe we can talk about it later. You know what I mean?
It really shows you like how close you are to a person, because like if I were like, for example, if I were to say that to Sin, like let's use Sin as an example, he'd be like, I got you, no problem. Like he would literally act like that was no problem. He'd be like, yeah, that's fine. Like you got a lot of stuff going on. But like I feel like there are some people that might take like an offense to that. Like be like, what the fuck? Like what's your deal? Like why can't you talk to me about my problems? And I think that shows like, and I don't know that necessarily makes them like wrong, but I just think it makes it to where like they're not fully like thinking about anything other than like they're being kind of egocentric or like, you know, narcissistic a little bit. They're like, no, I'm the only one that can have problems. Like you have to deal with my problems. It's like, no, like I'm going through a lot too. Like just because like I remember my ex, whenever we broke up, she like kept on like we'd get in these arguments and she'd be like, and I'm really going through a lot right now. I go, yeah, so am I. Like why do you think we're in this argument right now? It's because we're both so fucking frustrated that we got into an argument. That's literally why we're arguing, you know?
Yeah, I definitely feel as though like if someone is like, if you are venting to somebody, right, and they're always there for you and stuff, and then all of a sudden that person wants to vent to you, in a way I feel as though you owe them to be there, right? Like you kind of have to be like, yeah, of course I can reciprocate that same energy, right? You gave me your energy, I can reciprocate that energy for you.
There always has to be like a back and forth balance.
Return. But if you feel as though like you really just don't have the energy to give, like you feel as though you are like on the brink, like you just can't do it, you need to convey to them like in a way like, I'm really, really sorry. I'm not in a good headspace for this conversation right now. You can go ahead and like vent out, you know, send a message to me and I'll read it, but I'm not going to have the best replies. And, you know, there's always a way for you to get your point across without it coming across like in a negative or like a me way. Or making someone feel as though like they're rejected. I feel like you can... That's what I'm trying to say. You can get your point across without feeling like you're rejecting somebody.
Yeah, because it can feel so shitty if somebody is just like there's two ways to say it, right? Like there's one, like if let's just say we're talking about Rosie and I. Rosie comes to me and she's like, hey, like I'm going through a fucking lot. If I say I can't deal with your problems right now, like I'm too stressed, that sounds shitty. But if I'm like, if I'm like, hey Rosie, I would love to talk to you about these issues, and I'm down to talk about these issues with you in the future, but I am just going through so much right now as well. Like, I just can't, I literally can't handle anymore. Like, I'm getting really stressed out myself. Then it's like, okay, well, you know, we're good. Like, I understand.
Of course. Like,
you know.
Yeah, we're in the same boat. You know, if there's one with saying, like, fuck you, I can't handle that, or you know, we're both in this fucked boat. So, like,
exactly.
You know?
That's what I'm trying to say is, like, there's a difference between that.
It's just the blind leading the blind at this point. Like we're not gonna get anywhere. Like, Rosie, sing it, Rosie. No, but we went through. You started saying something. This is a concept that I heard a long time ago. I don't even remember where I heard this. I think I heard this from some YouTube channel at some point whenever I was like 12. And ever since I heard this, I've lived my life by this shit. He said this. Nice. He goes. You have to always think of life or like your emotional state as an emotional bank account. He goes, think of it as an emotional bank account. Whoa. He's like, if somebody deposits a lot into your account, then they're allowed to take withdrawals. And if people are withdrawing, they're not allowed, like, you don't have to deposit to them because all they've done is withdraw. And like that's such a fucking good way to look at like that kind of shit, because like exactly what Rosie was describing, like, okay, this person's like listened to me a million times whenever I needed it, they're allowed to make a withdrawal. They've made enough deposits to where they're allowed to make a withdrawal. But if it's a situation where all they've ever done is like burden you with their emotions and they've never like done anything for you in a positive way outside of that, then you don't owe them shit. You know, you don't owe them anything. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. It's just kind of like you need to know when to give and when to take, and sometimes I don't know, you just have to have some self-awareness.
You know, I also see the point that Nerd Sergeant just made. He said crack a beer and suffer together. Sometimes that's the right move too. Like sometimes you just need to commiserate.
For sure.
Yeah, you need to just be like, you just need to be like, dude, let's just like, I remember actually me and my friend did this. She had just broken up with her boyfriend of a long time, and then I had just gotten broken up with by my ex, and me and her literally just sat there and fucking bitched for like 2.5 hours drinking Mike's Hard Lemonade. Like we're just like sitting there talking, just like, yeah, and then the motherfucker did this. Oh, I can't believe this shit. Like just like literally had this like big like, you know, dish it out girl talk vibe.
Like most Apex friends are made. It's just talking shit about the game. Like you guys are just together like, bro, this is the worst fucking game. Do you want to play?
I hate this game. It fucking stresses me out. But anyways, you want to play or what's up?
Yeah, what's up? You ready?
Game, dude,
you ready up?
Bro, that's how it is. Every time Katie or Briggs or fucking anybody messages me, they're like, you want to play Apex? I'm like, no. Let's play.
Getting ready up. Get in the lobby, dude.
Dude, I really hate playing Apex, which is funny because like we were talking about this in the chat a little bit. It's so funny that like the odds of Rosie finding me through Apex is so fucking low. Like I literally in the last like year or like the last, I don't know, maybe 6 months, because there was a period where like all me, Sin, and Diet did was play Apex. But after that, which this was definitely after that period, I maybe played Apex every like 50th stream. So just randomly, you happen to come into one of my streams that you randomly found in the browse category.
Yeah,
it's such a crazy, like, I love coincidences like that.
Yeah, I try and
meant to be. It's fate.
Exactly,
I know,
it's fate.
It'll be
fated friendship.
I just look for people that have like a kind face. Like if they have a kind face, I'll like just go into their stream and then like say hi, or you know, try and jump into the conversation, and then seeing how they interact with chat and stuff. And then
you say like, kind face like now. I remember what you said specifically because it was a big boost to my ego. You go.
I said kind
no,
face.
You didn't. you said I was scrolling through and I thought you were attractive. That's what you said, and I was like, oh, you should have never said that. Now you're never gonna hear the end of this. I'm like, you just made my night. And I was like, I can't move on with my life now. But no, I
definitely said that.
It's funny the way that like, I just find those kind of moments where it's like, how the fuck did this happen? And now we're here. You know what I mean? Like that was whatever 4 or 5 months ago, and now we're here. That was the same thing with like I don't know if you guys know Pob in the community, Pob140. I love telling a story. I've told it a billion times. We need to get a Pob story counter because I've told the story so many fucking times. Aww. But Suffian just said, Tyler, you're a 6.5. I'll take that, honestly. That's not that
bad. I was told that was a 6.5, so I'm good too.
I'm living at 6.5. But yeah, so Pob, the way that we found Pob and got Pob in the community is I randomly started following Nux Taku's followers. Just like it was whenever I first started doing YouTube. I was like, just started following a bunch of random people, and Pob was one of like the 10 that followed me back out of everybody that I did that with. And then one day I just randomly made a tweet that I was like, hey, I'm gonna stream for the first time, and he just showed up. So out of like all of the people that I followed on Nux's thing, that none of them ever followed me back, he just happened to be one of the ones that like actually followed me back.
Yeah.
And then he literally became such a fixture in the community after that. Like, everybody loves Pob, everybody knows Pob, and the only reason he's in the community is because I randomly followed him off of Nux Taku's like fucking. It's just such a random like, just like the coincidence is just crazy.
Well, just like think of this, right? Like everyone is from different places around the world, like. And we're all in the same community and we know each other. Like, how crazy is that?
The odds that all of us are even talking right now is crazy. Like Katie had to start doing her thing exactly at the right time. I had to start doing my thing exactly at the right time, and Rosie had to start doing all of her stuff at the same time. Like we all had to kind of like. It's just crazy. I think that about like. Sometimes I'll think about like just the odds that you get birthed is so fucking insane. It's insane that any of us are here just from a biological standpoint, because what had to happen is your mom had to meet your dad at the exact second. If it was even 1 second later or 1 second earlier, you're no longer born. And then they had to date for a certain amount of times. And then you had to be one of the trillions of sperm cells that actually got through. Like, the odds that you are here is so fucking slim. Like, it's incredible. Like, you should look at every day and be like, I'm so fucking lucky. Like, I cannot believe that I get to wake up another day. You know what I mean? Speak for yourself, dude.
True.
What do you mean,
like, I have to wake up.
Yeah, I have to wake up. I have to wake up.
I had never asked to be born.
I was a cat from my school. Like, what the fuck? Oh, yeah. Nerd and I went to the same college.
What?
Yeah.
That's insane.
What the fuck?
He was like, yeah, I'm studying to be an animator. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. Like, what are you doing, kind of thing. And then he told me where he was going to school, and I was like, yeah, I went there.
That's like, crazy. Okay, those odds are way crazier.
Yeah, small world.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I was just like, yeah, I went there, went to the, because there's separate schools, I guess. I don't know, they're kind of the same school. I don't know. But it's just like, it's the same.
It's like the same university, but different colleges, is what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Well, it's the same university, but different sections of it. So, like, I went to, like, a private college that specialized in, so it's just kind of like, he specializes in a certain subject, and I specialize in a different one. So we don't really have the same.
I love those kind of stories that are just, like, so coincidental, like, you can't believe that it's true. Like, I know, like, every once in a while, somebody will be, like, talking to me on Twitch. Like, this happened to me recently. He goes, oh, you're from Houston? I go, yeah. And he goes, do you know where X, Y, or Z place is? I live there. I'm like, you literally live 5 minutes away from me. Like, like, that's crazy that you just, like, stumbled into my chat and you live 5 minutes away from me.
Dude. Well, it's kind of funny. Oh, go ahead, Katie.
No, you go ahead. It's okay. I cut you off.
No, you're good. So, like, do you guys know who Swag is? Obviously, I talked about him again. But, like, the whole reason that we met was because I met my best friend Lexi in film school at college, or like in college or whatever. And so then I started streaming, and then like a couple of months go by, and Lexi was like, hey, I have a friend who streams. And I was like, oh, no way, like, what's their name? And so they were like, yeah, it's Cyber Sweetie, you should check her out. And so then, like, I rated Cyber, and then Cyber and I just like started talking and stuff like that. And then, like, apparently Swag had rated Cyber at some point, and then, like, it just kind of built into this, like, oh, and now I know Swag. And it was like, the only reason I know Cyber is because of my best friend,
right?
And it's just this little butterfly effect.
Yeah, it's the butterfly effect.
Yeah,
it's like one thing led to another, and then people who have like a pretty big impact on your life and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
It's crazy.
No, that's how, like, every once in a while, Rosie, I'll go into some random. I think it's random, but now that I think about it, I guess it's some sort of algorithm thing with Twitch. But, like, I'll just go into somebody's stream, and, like, I'll just say something that, like, insinuates that I know you or LARP or, like, somebody, and they'll be like, oh, fuck, we love Rosie or LARP or whoever it is that I'm bringing up. They're like, oh, my God, we love them. I'm like, wait, y'all know them? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, my God, this is crazy. What a small world. I love those kind of moments. Yeah. They're so great.
And, like...
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah, it's crazy because, like, I remember when I was, like, first in the community or whatever, I found out that, like, Core had moved somewhere really close to where I live, and I was like, wait, what the fuck? You literally live, like,
that is so
40
weird.
minutes away from me. And I don't know. I don't want to say, like, anything, like, but, yeah, it's just, like, entirely insane because, like, you think that, like, it's really, you know, like everything is like so spread out, but it's such a small world
Everything's so
and everything's
interconnected.
connected.
Yeah, right.
Because I think
Mhm.
that there was a study that was basically done that they gave a letter and like a like, okay, they gave someone in New York like a profile. Okay, this is somebody who like works in a bank. They live like over in California, and they like, this is their name or whatever, right? And then they had to send that letter to somebody who they think knows that person.
Oh,
like, okay,
what
well,
the fuck?
I know like in Texas, so they said like, oh, okay, I know Tyler lives in Texas, so I'll send it to him. And then you send it, okay, well, I know somebody who works in the bank, so I'll send it to him. And it took 5 to 8 connections to find
That's so
somebody
much
across
less
the
than I
country.
thought you were gonna say. I thought you were like, and it only took 150. I was like, that's like the number that I was expecting.
Nope.
That's like
it literally took on average 8 to 5.
That's like the whatever they call it. I think they call it 8 degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever. So like everybody is 8 degrees away from Kevin Bacon. Like if you start looking at it, you'll be like, okay, well, I know this person knows this person knows this person knows this person, and this person worked on a film that Kevin Bacon was in. You know, like that's how it goes. It's insane the way that we're all this interconnected, because it doesn't feel like that. Like
Kevin Bacon?
It feels like we're so separated, and like we're all like on these individual paths, but in actuality, like everybody's really more interconnected than you think.
Really interconnected, yeah, 100%.
It's actually super sick. But anyways, well, I think this is a good place to end it. This was a really great episode. Rosie, thank you so much, and Katie, thank you so much as always.
Of course, and Rosie, thank you too. It was so much fun talking to you.
Rosie, this is a top tier episode. I gotta say.
I'm glad that you like it. I enjoy talking, so I'm here for it.
But anyways, this has been the Girl Talk Podcast. We'll see you later. Bye.
Peace.
Shinpaku or whatever.